This is Earl Nightingale, speaking to you from a lifetime of lessons, from the crackling radios of the 1950s to the screen you hold today. Before I reveal the one law of life that 99% of people ignore, a law that separates a life of drift from a life of destiny, I ask you to take a small but powerful step. If these words stir even a whisper of possibility in your heart, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and in the comments share one dream you've held close, one ambition you've never dared to voice. Why? Because this moment could be the spark that sets your life ablaze. And I want you to join me on this journey to awaken your true potential. I first glimpsed this law as a boy in the 1930s, amid the dust and despair of the Great Depression. I didn't want to believe it, because if it was true, then millions around me were living lives that weren't their own, lives of quiet resignation, of dreams left to wither. Over half a century, I've shared this truth with millions through my voice, my records, my words. And what have I seen? 99% of people ignore this law, not because it's hard, but because it's so simple it seems impossible. Yet, it's the key that unlocks a life of purpose, a life you were born to live. Stay with me, and I'll show you the law that 99% overlook, but you won't. I was born in 1921 in Long Beach, California, in the aftermath of the Great War, a time when the world was still catching its breath. By the time I could walk, the Great Depression had swept through America like a tidal wave, leaving families like mine clinging to survival in a tent city. The air was thick with dust, and hope was a rare visitor. My mother stitched dresses by lamplight, her fingers worn but her resolve unbroken, teaching me what it meant to endure. Yet, even in that barren landscape, I saw something that puzzled me. A few people, against all odds, rose above. They weren't richer or luckier. They weren't born with special gifts. But they had something, a secret, a spark that set them apart. A shopkeeper turned a single cart into a thriving store. A teacher with no books inspired children to dream. I carried this mystery with me through my youth into the United States Marines, where I stood on the deck of the USS Arizona during the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, witnessing a world torn apart. After the war, I found my calling behind a microphone in Chicago, broadcasting to a nation desperate for answers. I studied those who defied circumstance, not the elite, but the ordinary souls who built extraordinary lives. What was their secret? What law governed their success? I found it, and in 1956, I shared in a record called The Strangest Secret, a message that reached millions. It wasn't just words. It was a truth that could set anyone free. Here's the law, and its simplicity is its power. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you accept. That's it. Not 26, not a wish, not a dream, but a choice you make every day to accept or reject the limits others place on you. I didn't invent this law. I only gave it a voice. When I recorded it in 1956, it resonated across the globe, not because it was complex, but because it was true. Your life reflects not what you desire, but what you allow to define you. Accept mediocrity, and you'll live it. Accept limitation, and the world will enforce it. But accept greatness, accept responsibility, accept the possibility of more, and life will bend to meet you. Let me take you back to the America of the 1950s and 60s, a world of grit and determination, where this law worked its quiet miracles. In 1957, a bus driver named Frank in Detroit woke each morning, climbed in his seat, and thought, "This is all I'm meant for." He accepted the grind, the long hours, the small paycheck. And so, that's what life gave him, a life of routine, unchanged until he retired. He was a good man, but he accepted a ceiling, and life obliged. Contrast that with John, a mechanic in Texas in 1960. He heard this law on my radio show and decided he was worth more than oil-stained hands and a modest wage. He began to accept a different reality, that his thoughts were the blueprint of his future. He studied at night, picturing himself not as a worker, but as a business owner. By 1965, he'd opened his own garage. By 1970, he owned a chain of repair shops, employing dozens. Not because he was smarter or luckier, but because he accepted a bigger vision of himself. In 1963, a diner waitress named Ellen in Memphis listened to The Strangest Secret on a jukebox radio. She was tired of serving coffee and wiping tables, but she began to accept a new truth. She could create, not just serve. She enrolled in night classes, imagining herself as a nurse, helping others heal. By 1971, Ellen was working in a hospital, saving lives, her days of scrubbing counters behind her, all because she accepted a higher calling. In 1975, a factory worker named Carl in Pittsburgh heard this law and stopped accepting the monotony of the assembly line. He started seeing himself as an inventor, sketching ideas in his spare moments. By 1982, he'd patented a small machine part that improved factory efficiency, building a business that changed his family's future. He accepted innovation over resignation, and life delivered. And in 1980, a schoolteacher named Margaret in rural Oregon listened to my record during a lunch break. She loved teaching, but dreamed of writing children's books. She began to accept herself as a storyteller, not just a grader of papers. She wrote in the evenings, picturing her stories in young hands. By 1987, her first book was published, inspiring thousands of children to dream bigger, all because she accepted her own potential. These are real people, not legends. They didn't have more talent or opportunity than you. They simply chose to accept a different reality, and life reshaped itself around their choice. Here's the painful truth. 99% of people ignore this law, not because it's hidden or complex, but because it's too simple to take seriously. They accept what's handed to them. Mediocre jobs, strained relationships, unfulfilled dreams, and so that's what life gives them. They dwell on what's wrong. Bills they can't pay, opportunities they've missed, fears that loom larger than hope. And because they accept these as their reality, life obliges, delivering more of the same. Your mind is a mirror, reflecting back what you accept as true. It's working every second, whether you guide it or not. I've seen brilliant men and women trapped by their own acceptance, of doubt, of I'm not enough, of this is just how life is. They don't lack ability. They lack the courage to reject limitation. Your life is a canvas, and every thought, every choice, every moment of acceptance is a brushstroke painting your future. The tragedy isn't that life is unfair. It's that so few realize they hold the brush. They let fear, habit, and the expectations of others paint their lives, instead of choosing colors of purpose, growth, and possibility. Think of every great achievement in history: the telephone, the airplane, the moon landing. Each began with someone who refused to accept the status quo. They accepted a vision others called impossible. But so too does every regret, every unfulfilled dream begin with acceptance of I can't, of it's too late, of this is enough. Your choices are not neutral. They are forces shaping your reality with every breath. The question is, what are you accepting today? You're here, watching this, for a reason. Maybe you're stuck in a job that dims your light, a routine that feels like a cage. Maybe you carry a dream that feels too big, too far, too impossible. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign that it's time to change. This is that sign. This law, life gives you what you accept, is your wake-up call. It's not a fleeting inspiration or a distant promise. It's a truth that can reshape your life the moment you embrace it. Start now. This very second. Reject the limits others have placed on you. When doubt creeps in, refuse it. When fear whispers, silence it with courage. Close your eyes and see the life you want. See it vividly. Feel its reality. Accept it as yours. Accept yourself as a leader, a creator, a force for good. When you accept that vision, your actions will follow. Your habits will shift. And life will have no choice but to meet you there. This isn't about hoping or wishing. It's about deciding. It's about training your mind to accept greatness, not mediocrity. Write this law down. Life gives you what you accept. Pin it to your mirror. Carry it in your wallet. Make it your mantra. I've seen it work for thousands. Bus drivers turned business owners. Waitresses turned nurses. Teachers turned authors. They weren't born special. They simply chose to accept a bigger reality. You have that same choice right now. Don't wait for permission. It's already yours. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It's this one. You don't need anyone's approval to change your life. You don't need luck, wealth, or a world that aligns in your favor. You need this law and the courage to live it. Your mind is yours alone. No hardship, no failure, no skeptic can take it from you. It's your greatest asset, your most powerful tool, the key to a life beyond your wildest dreams. The 99% will wake up tomorrow and accept the same routine, the same limits, the same half-lived lives. But you're the 1%. You're the one who knows. Life doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you accept. This law is a gift, but it's also a challenge. It's a call to take ownership of your choices, to reject the ordinary, to accept the extraordinary. It's not about overnight miracles. It's about planting a seed today, a single deliberate choice that grows into a life you can't yet imagine. Every day, you choose what to accept. Every thought, every action, every moment is a step toward your future. You're the architect of your reality. The only question is, what will you build? This is Earl Nightingale, signing off, but not before I leave you with a mission. If this law has awakened something in you, a spark of hope, a vision of what could be, don't let it fade. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it, someone ready to reject the ordinary and accept their potential. Hit the like button to spread this truth to others searching for it. Subscribe so we can walk this path together day by day as you build the life you were born to live. And in the comments below, tell me, what's the one thing you're ready to stop accepting, and what new reality will you choose today? Your words could inspire someone else to break free. This is your moment, my friend. Accept it, live it, become it.